welcome to Happy Tales. I'm Cheryl Rosenthal, Communications and Education Coordinator here at the Oshkosh Area Humane Society.
And I'm Joni Geiger, Executive Director.
And today, Joni, our Happy Tales is all about I've tried everything. So many times we get telephone calls from people that are having behavioral issues with their pets, and they say, well, I've tried everything. And as I ask them questions, I find out they really haven't tried everything.
Right.
And there's a couple basic things that I would like to touch on today that really could maybe save people from having behavioral issues. And again,
and bringing them here.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think it's so important that when people start having a behavioral issue, what they need to do right away is make sure that they understand that we're a resource center. We can help them with that.
Absolutely.
Rather than waiting for months and months and months and then
Yes.
calling us.
Yes.
So rather than talking about, going on about all the different things, I want to focus today on litter boxes and cats, because the number one call that I get is litter box issues with cats.
I don't disagree with that.
And with us today is little Ruby Rose, and we also have Tabby. And I have a litter box here. And as you can see, now Ruby Rose is an adult cat.
Right.
And, she probably could use a litter box this size. And
Maybe.
it wouldn't be bad. But, that's really kind of a small bathroom. That kind of reminds me of the bathroom that I have in my camper.
Yes.
Yeah,
Or on an airplane.
Yeah. Okay, can I move around? And you know what people need to remember is cats are the closest to their wild ancestors than any of our other domesticated animals. And what happens is they're outside, they can go to the bathroom anywhere.
Anywhere,
And then
sure.
we bring them in the house and we want them to go in one particular spot.
Sure.
So we give them a box like this and say, this is your bathroom. And we don't always keep it really clean. We
Right.
don't scoop once or twice a day
Right.
like we should be.
Right.
So somebody calls, says, I'm having a litter box issue. I tell them to get a bigger litter box. And they go out and they buy a bigger litter box. And
Oh my.
this isn't always, it's bigger, but here again, is it really that much bigger?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
then I do a house call, and I tell them, in the meantime, they go out and they buy another litter box.
Okay.
And so, okay, this is better. We're getting better. But one of the issues that they're having is their cat is urinating over the side, or there's litter all over. And so I tell them, well, let's go a little bit bigger. And so we go to an extra large litter box. Now this is the litter box I use at my house, one of the style of litter boxes. And you notice, Joni, we don't have any covered boxes. We're not
Right.
recommending any
Right.
liners.
Right.
In multi-cat households, a covered litter box is one way in, one way out. And it keeps them
And why
from-
is that?
Well, again, cats like their privacy. They're most vulnerable when they're eating, sleeping, urinating, or defecating. So if I'm in the litter box and you're coming over, I'm going to go, nah, I'm going to jump
I'm
out.
outta here. Yeah.
But if I'm in a covered box, I have no place to go.
Right.
And so cats are always looking for their escape route. Whether it be I can jump out of the front, I can jump out of the side, I can jump
Right.
out of the back
Right.
if somebody comes near me. Then the next thing that people can do, in addition to going to the larger litter box, is we don't even use litter boxes. We can use something like this blue storage container, which is totally flat on the bottom. It has nice high sides for the cat that may start out urinating, squatting to urinate, and then as they finish, they may stand up and spray
Right.
over the side.
Right.
So it's good to keep everything in. And it's amazing. Kittens and older cats, unless they are extremely heavy or arthritic,
Right.
are able to jump in here.
Right.
But we also have a tip on how you can cut a doorway
Sure.
into a litter
Sure.
box. And then this is another storage container. And I'm just showing this one because you can see it doesn't have the flat bottom.
So it
And
has the ridges.
It has a ridge. So it's not quite as nice. But plastic is plastic, and
Right.
you can see that this box is well worn.
And-
This is a box that I would tell the family to throw it away.
Right. Replace it.
Because you cannot get the smell out. And Joni, that's another thing. When people come to the shelter, they see that cats are sleeping in their litter box. Cats like to be surrounded by their own odor.
Sure.
And it's a comforting thing.
Sure.
And so cats especially, like something that is familiar. They don't want their litter box to reek of urine and feces, but they want it to smell familiar. And that's why scooping every day is important. But when you have a box that's maybe maintaining more ammonia smell than what we want, it may start to become offensive to the cat, and we'll put them off the litter box.
And cats smell how much better than we do?
14 times. Yeah. Their sense of smell is 14 times greater than ours. So, Joni, I want to take a minute to take a break because I have something else that I want to be able to show our audience. So we're going to take a quick break and come right back.
Obviously, Tabby.
Yes, Tabby is doing a good demonstration to see. Isn't it obvious that she would be much more comfortable with a box that size? Yeah. A lot of cats, especially when they're defecating, they want to be able to scratch around, and it kind of gets things moving. And so they're scratching in their litter and trying to position themselves, and then they need room enough to turn around so that they can cover. And it's so important that, think about your own bathroom. I love that game I play with the kids. Put yourself in the pet's place. Okay. Would you want to use your camper bathroom all your life? Right. You know, and I think the other thing people need to think about is, I only have one bathroom at my house. And I go to a lot of homes now and they have 2 and 3 bathrooms. Right. And one of the things that I see a lot of is when I go into homes, I had a call recently where somebody had 2 cats. And they only have 2 litter boxes. And the best rule of thumb, Joni, for litter boxes is 1 litter box per cat plus 1. Okay. So that means if you have 2 cats, you should have 3 litter boxes. Sure. If you only have 1 cat, you really should have 2, because most cats like to urinate in one and defecate in another.
My cats are like that.
If you're gone all day, do you want to use a bathroom that isn't flushed?
Right.
I want to go to a clean bathroom. So here we have a perfect example of a home that I went into. They have 2 cats and they have 2 litter boxes. Now, yes, you and I can see that that's 2 litter boxes, but to a cat, this is 1 litter box because they're right next to each other. Right. So the owner, before I got there, added their 3rd litter box, and guess where they added it, Joni?
They put it
They added it right there. So right there. Now, that would be like me telling my husband that I want a 2nd bathroom in my house, and he puts a 2nd toilet in the same bathroom.
Right, right.
So that just doesn't make sense. So the other thing about this...
And why is that, Cheryl? Why do we want them separated from each other? Why do we, you know...
Well, because, first of all, again, that vulnerability. Right. When cats are living in a multi-cat household, there are some cats that are more dominant than the others, and they may guard their litter box. It's all about territory and having other choices. Location for litter boxes is so important. Cats want their litter box in a low traffic area, but not a no traffic area. Don't put your cat's litter box in the fruit cellar where nobody goes. Right. And another reminder,
we see that a lot though.
Cats cannot see in total darkness. Don't put your cat's litter box in an area that you yourself would not be comfortable going, underneath the stairs. Now, the other thing about covered litter boxes and under the stairs, I actually went to a house where they had the litter box under a coffee table, and here's the cat trying to use its box all scrunched down. Wow. It's like, it's no wonder that he chose to start urinating behind the couch. Sure. Escape is very important. It goes back to that feeling vulnerable. Let's say that if a cat is using this litter box and we walk into this room, how can the cat escape from his litter box? Right. In this case, he can only escape from the front. Right. He might be able to jump up there. Right. If he's in the middle one, he's going to have to jump over 2 litter boxes. Right. So you want to look at escape routes. Not that the cat is going to be traumatized, but that's what cats are looking at naturally. It's part of their natural instinct. And it's so important. I don't know.
Cats are always aware.
Right, they're always on guard. And you know, Joni, I understand why people, you know, when people have cats, they don't want to look at a litter box, because I personally don't like looking at toilets. But it's important that we remember that every house has a bathroom, has a toilet. Right, right. And isn't it better that we look at the toilet rather than smelling the toilet? Right. And if you're more aware of your litter boxes, you're going to keep them cleaner and you're going to keep your cat happier. Right. Now, if you have a small area, one easy fix for this is taking this litter box and maybe putting it, let's pretend there's a wall next to me here, and we're going to set that litter box over here. So there isn't a lot of difference, but there's some distance, which will keep the cat happy. In an ideal world, there would be litter boxes on every floor of your home. Never put a litter box where you are not comfortable keeping it. Don't put it down. Let's say that you put it in the bathroom, and then a week later you decide, oh, I don't want it there.
Right.
Especially if you find that your cat has been using that litter box faithfully. So be careful where you're placing that. And it's so important. These are things that people need to think about before they bring a cat in. Every time you bring a new cat into your home, you increase your probability of indiscriminate elimination by 10%.
Right.
So if you have 2 cats, you have a 20% chance that you can end up with a litter box issue. 3, 30%, 4, 40%, and so on.
And so on.
And that's why you need to increase the number of boxes. Now, sometimes people will tell me, well, we have this giant sandbox. They go out and they buy these oil pans.
Yeah.
And again, if I'm threatened by you, and you're hanging around that litter pan, I'm not going to use it. I'm going to go upstairs and go behind the bed or on the bed.
Right.
And so we need, and every cat is different. If you had cats early on in your life, I had a cat that he didn't care if you ever scooped his box, and he was wonderful. But he set a bad precedence for me. But then there's other cats, they really appreciate it. It's the equivalent to flushing the toilet when you're scooping the boxes. But location is so important, and not having them all crowded together. Can we take another break? And I'd like to bring some other things up.
You bet.
Oh, Joni, there's just so much that I want to cover in this show, and there's just not enough time. And,
she's all pumped.
This is so important, how you clean up after your pet. And what we have on the table is all good products.
Right.
We're not here to endorse or slam any products, but we're here to tell you what not to use. When you're cleaning up a urine stain, whether it be dog or cat or whatever, you don't want to use ammonia, because if you use ammonia, it just reinforces that, because urine smells like ammonia.
Right.
The other thing that happens is people will use bleach or they'll use Lysol. The best thing that people can do when you come upon a urine stain is flush it with clear water. Flush it and blot it up, what my husband calls the towel dance, dance on dry towels to blot it all up. And then you use a cleaner. And the cleaner you want to use is not any of these. Right. Because they don't have an enzymatic, biodegradable component to it. So you want to use something like Nature's Miracle.
Now, what do you mean by that, Cheryl? What's an enzymatic, blah, blah, blah?
An enzyme is I always think, whenever I think of an enzyme, I think of Pac-Man.
Yeah, a live enzyme.
I think of something that's going to get in there and gobble up the protein and the pheromone smell and odor and protein of that urine and gobble it up. And if I have put Lysol or bleach or any of these other disinfectant type things on there, and there's any residue of them, it kills the enzyme. So game over. You've killed Pac-Man. It can't do its job. So you want to look for something that says that it will remove the pheromones or the pet odor, the urine odor. We're not talking just stains here. We want to make sure that we get the odor out, because if you don't get the odor out, you're going to draw the animal right back. And these products don't work instantaneously. That's why I suggest you flush it, blot it. Then you're going to apply your Nature's Miracle or your Complete or your Capture or your Get Serious or whatever product. You're going to put it on that carpet and let it sit for a while. Follow the directions. If it's a wet area of carpeting, I like to throw a towel over it so I can still walk there, but I don't have to worry about, or put a colander there. But you need to allow that product time to
actually work.
Become active, because it is active. And so unless you're cleaning with that, cleaning with water and vinegar, it's not. Yeah,
and that, I mean, really, people do that all the time.
Water and vinegar.
Because for whatever reason, they think that is going to clean up that mess. And, and unfortunately, it doesn't.
And again, what did you ask me earlier? Cats can smell 14 times greater than you and I can. And so we can't smell it. Another thing that I like to use in my wash machine is if I find a rug that's been urinated on, I rinse it with cold water, then I pour liquid OxyClean right on that stain. I throw it in my wash machine by itself, start the wash machine, let it agitate for 3 to 4 minutes, then I turn off my wash machine, go watch a movie, go do something, whatever I need to do, come back to it, add whatever I want to the wash machine, maybe some other dog beds or kitty beds or whatever, finish washing it, and that OxiClean also is a great stain and odor remover for laundry. But you can also use some of these things. But look at the label.
Now, I have a question for you, Cheryl. So let's say someone has used these products on the stain. Okay. What do they do now?
Flush it with clear water.
So they have to clean it
and flush it with clear water to try to get all of that out.
All of this out, and then
retreat it with a new product.
Okay.
With a new product.
All right.
Now, there's one more thing I want to talk about. Is Feel Away.
Okay.
This is I feel that this is a must for every multi-cat household.
Okay.
Feel Away is a pheromone treatment. When you bring something new home and your cat is rubbing on things, that is friendly marking. They have scent glands around their mouth, between their eyes and their ears, base of their neck, base of their tail, and in their paw pads.
Right.
So when your kitty goes like that to you, he's marking you with his scent. Feel Away, when a cat starts spraying or stops using their litter box, it can be urine marking.
Right.
And what we want to do in some of those areas, we want to trick the cat into thinking he has friendly marked those areas. Friendly marking is with the face and the paws. Urine marking, of course, is with the other end. So we want the Feel Away. What that does is if your cat is stressed, if you've had work done in your house and there's people in and out, strangers, the holidays are coming. This is a product that you can spray on the corners of your cupboards, you can spray it in the corners of your carpet, you can spray it on your cat's bed, you can spray it in the area where your cat is urine marking. And it tricks the cat into thinking, oh, I friendly marked that. I don't have to urine mark that anymore.
Okay.
We use this sometimes for cats that come into the shelter. Let's say that I'm going to go pick up a cat that's really scared. We're going to spray this on a towel, and we're going to put it in our cat carrier. And then by the time we get to the cat and we put him in there, it smells familiar to the cat because we've tricked him with this pheromone.
Yeah.
It's also a wonderful thing to spray in your cat's carrier before you have to take him to the vet.
I gotta tell you,
like
I've
perfume.
seen this work, and it's amazing.
Yeah,
it's almost miraculous.
It's like perfume. You don't spray it on there and then shove the cat in.
Right.
You spray it in
and let
it sit for 15 to 20 minutes before you put the cat in.
Right.
But this is a must. It also comes in a plug-in. I like this because I can put it where I want it when I need it. The plug-in is a diffuser that permeates all the air in your house.
Where do you get
Wonderful
that, Cheryl?
tool. You can get this at your veterinarian. You can get it online. You can get it at most pet stores.
Okay.
You can get it at some hardware stores like Fleet Farm. Call ahead, call around.
Sure.
I'm not going to lie to you. It is expensive, but well worth it. And it's one of those things, don't overuse it. You know, if it says 1 spritz, don't do 5 or 6 in the same area. You're wasting it.
Right.
So go according. It has wonderful directions, instructions, and if you have questions or concerns, call our behavior hotline, which we'll put on the screen for people. Use us as a resource. But these things, when it comes to litter box issues, are paramount to getting them fixed.
Right.
Because if your boxes aren't clean, if they're not in the right location, if you're not cleaning up properly, all those, without those modifications, you're going to still have a behavioral issue.
Sure you are. Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
You know, and here again.
So you haven't tried everything.
So you haven't tried everything, and I haven't even touched. This is just the tip of the iceberg of things that people.
Sure.
And people need to investigate what is causing the problem. Be a detective. The best memory. A piece of paper with a few notes on is better than the best memory. How often is this happening? Was company there? Did something happen? Did somebody move out? Did somebody new in? Did you change laundry detergents?
Did you have work in the house? I mean, there's
Did
all
you
kinds
open
of,
the windows?
exactly.
Is there a stray cat outside? Is there a new baby? Did somebody go off to school? Things that you and I take in our stride can put our cats off their litter box.
Sure.
And first and foremost, before you even think about doing any behavioral modification, the first thing you need to do is take your pet to your veterinarian and have a urine test done.
Right.
Because again, all the behavioral modification in the world will not help a medical problem. a medical issue. Cats urinating outside the box could have diabetes, they could have hyperthyroid, they could have a bladder infection, they could have, you know, we don't know, but we need to, pardon the pun, eliminate any medical cause and then try the behavior modification. And hopefully by starting early, don't let this go on for a month or 2 or 3 because it can become a habit. Call right away, get help right away. It's okay to ask. But please don't think, oh, I've done everything. Because there might be one more thing that you can try to keep you and your cat together.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Well, Joni, we've spent a lot of time of our show talking about cats.
Yes, we have.
And behavioral issues. But, you know, cats aren't the only ones that people call and tell us, I've tried everything.
And I think one of the things that, probably the #1 thing that we get phone calls on it is house training. There are other issues, but house training is really relatively simple and it's a lot of common sense. And so what I thought we would do, Cheryl, is just kind of sort of cover some of the basics and so that people understand. I know sometimes people think that dogs you know, defecate or urinate in the house, and they do it on purpose, and you know those.
They
kinds
do it
of
out
things.
of spite.
They do it out of spite, and so on and so forth. And so the truth of the matter is that there are some basics to house training. You can do this at any age. I mean, you don't have to, and this is great.
Isn't that wonderful? She's investigating the crate, checking out what it is.
We can do these things at any age. Just because your dog is not house trained at 3 years of age doesn't mean you can't house train your dog. I mean, dogs are smart and bright, and they get these things. And so if you just know the basics, you should be able to do this in a relatively short period of time. So let's talk about that. Now, obviously, we have a crate out here, and we use crates here. All our dogs have crates in their kennels, and the whole idea behind the crate is the natural denning process.
Right, cats. Dogs like to be, one of my dogs, he loves his crate.
Yeah, and denning is a
natural.
Absolutely natural behavior that all dogs have. All dogs. I mean, so even if you don't use a crate, your dog dens in your house. They go under a table, they go under a chair, they go next to the couch, off to the side.
They go under the bed, they go in the closet.
Exactly. And the whole idea is that they're protected on their sides and sometimes over the top, and they can look out on their territory. That is denning. So the crate actually becomes the den. The beauty about a crate or a den is they don't soil where they lay.
Right.
So the truth of the matter is you have control over the bladder and the bowel, okay? The only time an animal generally will soil in the crate is 2 reasons. They have kennellosis, which is, you know, just some nervousness in the crate, and sometimes you cannot crate them. And then the other reason would be is you just left them too long.
And you know, Joni, while we're talking about this, the shelter has some wonderful handouts about crate training. What to do and what not to do. You just don't shove them in there and say, you're going to go in there. I was going to suggest that we throw some treats in there because we noticed that she went in there readily, you know, by herself. So the crate should never be used for punishment.
Right, it's their safe place.
It's their safe haven.
It's their boudoir, so to speak. So the truth of the matter is that they don't soil where they lay. So when you get your dog out of the crate, the first thing they have to do is eliminate. So if you hook your dog up, get him outside. People have to go outside with their dogs.
Yes.
I can't stress that enough. They have to go. If your dog is not house trained, you must go outside with your dog. You must have your dog on a leash. I don't care if you have a fenced-in yard or you don't, because you have to be there. So, see, you have to be there so you can praise them. You want to verbally praise them for when they're eliminating.
Right. Dogs live in the moment. So if you let your dog outside and your dog goes to the bathroom, and then you call the dog in the house and give the dog a treat, what does the dog think he's gotten the treat for?
Nothing.
I got the treat for coming in the house. But if you're outside with your dog and your dog potties, as soon as your dog is finished eliminating, oh, good puppy, good job, and you can give them a treat, give them a pat on the head, but it has to be instantaneous because they don't remember. They live
in the moment. They absolutely, and that's your 3-second rule.
And that's also when you come home and you find a puddle on the floor because you didn't crate your dog. Don't yell at your puppy for eliminating. They don't know what they read your body language. They understand you're angry, but they don't realize that you're angry about what's on the floor.
You know, I got to tell you, it's one of my #1 pet peeves. I get so upset when people do this and they punish their dog after the fact, or their cat, and they have no idea where they're punishing. I mean, they're totally clueless, and the animal starts to become afraid of the owner's coming home.
Right.
And so that is reactive, and then obviously through anxiety is sometimes when they soil.
Right.
So dogs don't get that. They don't do it on purpose. They're not doing it. They're not punishing you. They're not doing, and they don't have that kind of thought process.
Right.
They're dogs. And
Right.
dogs live in the moment. So you must reward behavior within 3 seconds, and you must correct behavior within 3 seconds. Otherwise, it's gone.
Right.
You know, and
they're
it's,
on to the next thing already.
yeah, and it's
They've
that
moved on.
simple. It's that simple. So people need to understand that they need to, you know, they just have to start fresh. They have to just do the basics, and the basics are crate training if you choose, and we do recommend it. And crate training really is a good way to start your dog, and you know it yourself. You have adult dogs at home, and they love their crate.
Yep,
they
they,
love
you
their
know.
crate. My dogs love their crate. So
Right. And
absolutely.
I don't use my crates all the time when I'm gone. There are days like today, my dogs are loose in the house. But if I know that I'm going to be gone for quite some time,
Right.
and I have a younger one that he sometimes gets in a little bit of mischief going window to window, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
I don't want to set my dog up
Sure.
to fail. And he's happy in his crate. And everybody got a goodbye bone today.
Right.
And they're keeps them busy while I'm gone.
Sure.
And
It's a training tool.
and there's no big deal about when I come home, I let my dogs out of the crate, they run upstairs, we go outside, then I greet my dogs.
Right.
There isn't, oh, Mama's home,
Yeah.
how are you? Oh, I was so, I don't do any of that. And when
Right.
I leave, my dogs kennel up, I give them their treat, and I walk out the door. I may say, see you later, boys, and I walk out. No big overture
Sure.
about that. So it's natural. I'm the leader. I have to come and go, and they accept that.
Yeah.
And the more consistent we are with our dogs,
Consistency is key.
Yeah,
It is
you
absolutely
must
key.
be consistent.
Common sense and consistency. You got it made. You can be a trainer. That's how.
Right.
I mean, that is just really the basis
and
of
reward
dog.
the good behavior and try to ignore
Yeah,
the bad.
yeah. And
If you just concentrate on that good behavior, and I'm a believer in imagining what you want. Think about what you want. Don't be driving in the car on the way home. Oh, I'm going to find a puddle on the
Right.
floor. Come
Right.
home and be confident that and
Right.
if it hasn't happened, whose fault is
Yeah.
it? It really isn't the dogs.
It really isn't.
It's up to
yeah.
the trainer.
And you said it yourself. You have to set them up to succeed.
Right.
And so you have to have the tools. You have to have the things available for them. And so, it's really, really important that people do that. House training, again, is one of those issues that is not all that difficult, because dogs want to please. I mean, that's part of their
Right.
nature, is the pecking order and the hierarchy, and they want to please. And so, contact us. We got great handouts.
Great handouts.
on crate training, on house training, on any of those issues.
And
'Cause
house training, whether it's a puppy
Yeah.
or whether it's an
Yeah,
adult dog,
absolutely.
we have it all
Yeah.
available.
All
So
right.
I'm hoping that our audience really had fun learning some really quick tips
Right.
today about
Right.
behavioral issues
tried
and
it all.
what they can do to how you can really, really try it all. And so until next time, happy tales to you.